What's up, everybody? It looks like we're live. I think it's not live on Twitch, but maybe live on just YouTube and Periscope, which is fine. Gosh, I look like shit. Oh, I really do not like how I look today, but it's fine because it was my own fault because I was too lazy to put on makeup. So here we are. Sunday afternoon. I haven't done a live stream in a while. Hey Doug. Haven't done a live stream in a few weeks at this point, and I missed you guys, so I'm back. And there's so much to talk about, but first I have to have a little bit of my guacamole heat because that's all I care about. Oh man, my Twitch stream aborted due to an error. Something is going wrong with Twitch. For some reason I'm connected to Twitch, but it keeps getting hacked into by somebody in Vietnam, and then also it keeps getting hacked into by somebody in Malaysia. Anyway. So someone's asking if I got bored trolling on Twitter. No, I would never get bored trolling on Twitter. Why would I ever get bored trolling on Twitter? Hey Rosemary. What up, Rosemary? Oh gosh, I look like I just woke up. Spoiler, I just woke up. So, I actually did just wake up. Hey from Walla Walla! Hey Anna! Wow. This is awesome. Thanks for joining. This is so cool that you're here. So, a few months ago, a lot of the things... Oh my gosh, I really do not like how I look right now. Whoa. Okay, I'm just gonna ignore my face looking back at me and just whatever. Maybe it's because I haven't done a live stream in so long, aka a few weeks. So, a few weeks ago, when all the COVID stuff was happening, and we were seeing all these a lot of conspiracy theories were just boiling because that's what happens when you force people to stay home and they don't have jobs, they don't have anywhere else to go or anything to do. They have a lot of time to think. Joe, thank you so much, Joe. That's awesome. Thank you, Joe. Joe says the SJWs aren't on to anything, Pardes. But the past a few weeks ago was when we had all these truthers coming out and saying all these crazy things that will happen and that are happening, and why are they having us stay inside and locked down? What are they, what's the agenda? And you and most people, I was okay, this is crazy. And I'm not saying that anything has changed, but now with the George Floyd protests and the way that our collective government is reacting to them, and the way that these protests are not just in the US, they're all across the world, I'm starting to think other things. Now, to be clear, I agree Black Lives Matter, and I agree, I agree all the things that you're saying, and people, justice for people, I agree with all these things. Police brutality is bad, it gets out of hand, and that's bad, and, justice for all. okay, I agree with things, but also, do I trust the Black Lives Matter movement? I'm not gonna say that I don't trust it, because I don't think, like a lot of truthers are saying, I don't think that it is actually an organized, like, I don't think it's actually like an organized thing, like psyop, like what a lot of people are saying. But I think that it's definitely being exploited, and there is definitely an underlying agenda. And that agenda is definitely political. Someone in the comments is saying all lives matter. I don't think that what I'm saying is very controversial. I think, like, the numbers back me up. Anytime we had a major election, we had these riots beforehand, or protests, or whatever you want to call it. We had this, like, wave of BLM. And while the message might be inherently good, you have to pay attention to why people suddenly care about Black Lives Matter, and why it's such a big thing right now, and why it's okay to suddenly okay to go outside not wearing a mask, or maybe wearing a mask but not social distancing, when they forced you to stay inside for the past few months. Now suddenly it's okay because it's for this movement. What is it about this movement? It's not just, oh, Black Lives Matter. It's not just Black Lives Matter. There's something about this movement that makes it so important for these people to tell you, these lawmakers and these people who are in positions of power, to tell you that it's okay to go outside to do this thing. What is it about this movement? One second. I just saw Anna just commented. Anna says, I think some people in the movement are organized. Boop, 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 boop. But the majority, in my opinion, is in the hashtag. I agree with you. Yeah, it's a trend. And I know a lot of people who have hopped on the trend, not judging you. And I'm actually very happy for you that you have, like, it's a thing. It's a purpose, after being locked down for so many months. It's great that you have jumped into finding purpose that you are rallying for. Great. But just know why these people who are getting you to do that are getting you to do that. No, it's not because of George Floyd. It's not because of Black Lives Matter. Paul, I miss you too. That's awesome. Thank you, Paul. Guys, YouTube, my YouTube friends are like, YouTube is where it's at. Because, yeah, YouTube is where it's at. Because the YouTube people are like, you guys remember me from last year when I just started live streaming, and I was so awkward. I'm still awkward, but, like, then I was really awkward and really, like, embarrassed, didn't really have a sense of direction. So you guys were like my practice guinea pigs. I mean, it wasn't like practice, it was also like, it was fun. Even then it was fun. It was just like, I was still kind of new to the whole thing. Someone is asking, someone is asking if I've been in Norway. I have not been in Norway. I thought about it. My school goes to Norway, the business school that I go to at Johns Hopkins. They have a program that they go to Norway every year. And I was thinking of going to Norway with them this year. Joe, thank you so much. Joe says BLM has become a dogma to the white SJWs. So it's so funny because my boyfriend and I were talking about this recently, and like the whole thing about I can't speak for, okay, so I can't speak for a black person. I can speak for myself. If somebody were to like, if this whole BLM stuff was happening, but like it was about my personal race or whatever, I would not be so comfortable with it. And I get that for a lot of people, they want to be good, and it comes from a good place, and I think that's a very great thing. But why are we bringing race to the forefront of all issues? Adam says Persian lives matter. Okay, I guess I'm not as offended as I thought I would be. Persian lives matter. But this is what's confusing to me. If you and I know a lot of black people have, and I don't even like to say the word black people, because like the whole movement is what it's trying to do is it's trying to lump all people with similar skin color into like one voting block. People are not born to care about skin color. Actually, little kids, when they're born, they don't even discriminate with animals. Like, they don't even discriminate with people who aren't their same species as them. If you put a kid in the same room with a puppy, like, the kid will play with the puppy as if the puppy is a human being, because they don't care. And what we're doing with like a lot of our politics these days, and that's right now what the left is doing, is that they're in order to like push whatever politics they have, the tool that they're using is trying to like the tool that they're using is like collectivism with demographics. They're basically getting everybody to like start identifying with these little features that put them in a group, and telling them like, you're being oppressed, you're a victim, you're being oppressed, we're the only people that are going to save you. I think that's very exploitative. I mean, I get offended when people do that with like the Jewish community. Nobody tries to do that with Persian community, so like I'm just like, okay, great. Nobody tries to do that with Persians. Don't get any ideas. When they're like, okay, like, because you all have like similar color skin, now I will give you a name, and that is brown people, black people, yellow people. Like, I'm gonna give you a name, so now you're part of this group, even though you don't have anything in common with literally anybody in this group, and never met anybody in this, never met most of the people in this group, don't care, whatever. But I'm gonna give you like a name because it's politically convenient for me to put you in a voting block and to see you as a part of a big group rather than your own person, because as your own person, you might be able to like have your own opinions, and we don't want you to have your own opinions and be nuanced. We want you to fear, and we want you to be part of this group, because once you're part of this group, you're much more easily to control. Collectivism is cancer. As I said in my on Twitter, on Twitter, as I said on Twitter, collectivism is cancer. It's literally like forcing a bunch of people in like this group based on like barely anything in common, just like maybe one similar identifying feature, so that we can now control the narrative. And if you go against it, then you're self-hating because your entire identity is this thing. You know what else collectivism does? Collectivism makes you have to answer for the crimes of other people in your collective group that you shouldn't have to be answering for otherwise. Collectivism makes it so that if you are a Arab person, let's say, I'm saying Arab because that's closer to my race, so less controversial. So let's say you're an Arab person and you like have been good and moral your whole life and you've been peaceful and fine, and then there's like this crazy guy who like a suicide bomber who blows himself up and says ah, la, 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 like I don't know, Allah Akbar, and he like blows himself up in some other country, and there's there's like maybe 1 billion or more, like I don't even know how many Arabs there are in the world, but you, because of this collectivist nature, because you know, there's this intersectional group of people that are, you know, have now labeled you a brown person or whatever, you have to be part of that guy's group, and you have to answer for that guy's sins. And you have to be offended anytime like anybody anytime that guy gets blamed for something, you have to be offended on his behalf. I don't know, it's so stupid. I don't know if I'm making sense, but thank you, Anna. Thanks, Anna. Somebody's asking what is my nationality. Well, I was born and raised in the US, but if you want to know where my parents are from, they're from Iran. They're Persian. And they are, yeah. They came here, my parents came here after the revolution. Someone is saying we're not here because you make sense, Pardes. Thank you very much for your compliment. I'm having guacamole, and chips, so nothing you say can offend me. Literally nothing you say can offend me right now. I'm in like a really good mood because I just woke up from a 3-hour nap. Do you know what I would really love? And what I think would mean that we are at a very healthy place? And I think that we can get there if we try. I would really love to like get to a point in our culture where you can make jokes about every like race or culture or nationality or whatever, and like people laugh it off and nobody gets offended, nobody gets freaked out, because like no one cares, because nobody's identifying with like that other person that you just, you know, like that's what I want. I want us to be such a like individualist culture that you can make fun of like any demographic, whatever. You can just make jokes and people don't get freaked out. They don't get offended. I want a culture where like kids are not taught from when they're really, really tiny to be afraid of white people or to be afraid of black people or to be afraid, like, you know, be afraid of police. Like, that's what this video, this guy made, you know, like, people are saying, like, oh, you're not empathizing with Black Lives Matter. And actually, like, you know, I get it. And that's why, because you said that, I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh, maybe I should watch more Black Lives Matter videos. Maybe I should educate myself a little bit more. And I watched more videos, and I feel like actually that did help. Like, I do get it. I get, like, a lot of the arguments are very compelling. Like, there was this one guy, what's his name? Ethan Klein. He made a video, and that was trending on Twitter. And so, like, you watch this stuff and you're like, oh, it's very compelling. But it's, like, so toxic. They're basically, like, saying, like, it's like this whole culture of people, and I get it, like, I don't think you're a bad person if you're pushing this. Like, I think you probably just, fell into this trend, but you're basically, but it's a toxic trend. It's a very toxic trend, and it's a trend, and it's been going on at this point for many years. It's a trend of people who are raising kids, particularly Black kids in America, to think that everybody hates them, and everybody, and they try to do this with Jewish kids too, by the way. They're gonna come and get you, another holiday. They try to do this with Jewish kids. So I see it, and I see how bad it is, and I think they do it worse with Black kids. They say, like, they train kids who don't have any biases. They train kids to be afraid from a very young age. And I think that's incredibly toxic. Don't do that, please. Very toxic, please. I think that's what's wrong with our culture. That is why people can't make jokes with each other. That's why people can't be comfortable. That's why race relations are so, like, you don't want to hang out with people who are, like, you get worried to hang out with too much with, like, like somebody who might be offended by your jokes. You just want to let loose, enjoy yourself. You want to connect with, and you don't want to, you can't do it with a big elephant in the room. Anna says, train up a child in the way he should go, and he will not depart. By the way, Anna's a social worker, and I've gotten advice from her, and I feel like she's always very on point. And I think that's right. Like, you don't have to, like, you don't have to raise kids with, like, the bad things that could happen to them. You raise kids with positive reinforcement, the good things. And kids are, like, really simple. They're fine, they don't need all this complicated extra stuff. So Logo says Anna's on point. She's flowing straight from the survival scroll. Roy says Pardes, say something in Farsi. Now I'm too self-conscious. So even if I was going to say something in Farsi, I'm not going to say it now, because you said that I should say it. Now you're extra curious. I actually thought about doing a live stream in Farsi. Like a whole live stream in Farsi and naming it Pardes Live Farsi. I was thinking about making it, like, don't cry. I was thinking about making Pardes Live Farsi, and, like, it would be basically this. It won't be exactly the same as English, as my English Pardes Lives, but it would be, like, I don't know. It would also be very simplistic, because I feel like I can't discuss complicated topics in Farsi. because, like, I don't know. My English is better than my Farsi. So, I don't know about you, but I've been moving around a lot since this, like, coronavirus thing started. And I'm definitely one of the luckier people. Someone's talking to me in Arabic. I don't speak Arabic. My friend, I don't speak Arabic. Although, honestly, I could read Arabic because I could read Farsi, so it's like very similar. And there are so many similar root words. So actually, I thought about getting into Arabic. And especially because I also speak Hebrew. And those, like Farsi, Hebrew, and Arabic have so many similar root words. So that's a good idea. I think I'm going to do that. Yeah. So, okay, what was the title of this live stream? It was like doomsday. So, I have a friend who is like kind of crazy, and he would always say that America's headed for a civil war, and everybody would like laugh at him because he's such a crazy person. Ha ha. And after the events of like what's been happening recently and what I've been seeing people, like how far people are willing to go to push a movement that is definitely becoming linked with a very political side of our country, I don't think that that's so crazy anymore. I could definitely see like a civil war type of thing. And I don't want to be like adding to this fear. So, you know, whatever. I'm just telling you what I think. I definitely think that a civil war is very possible. And I definitely think that if people are like, if it was possible before, now it's definitely more possible because people are out in the streets. You know, 40 to 50 million people out of jobs. The rest of them, you know, scared, struggling. Like, we're just in a really bad place. And, these politicians played right into it. These politicians in big cities and big blue cities and states. By the way, I was trying to be not political last year, but now with all this stuff happening, like, screw that. I'm moving to a red state. I don't care. I grew up my whole life in very, very blue coastal cities. And now I'm just like, that life is, I can't do it anymore because just seeing how everything is going and it's gonna get worse. You're not safe in those places. I don't feel safe in those places. I don't feel a lot of people are safe in those places. I think there's gonna be like more rioting, more crazy stuff, like, because it's those places where the politicians in those places are have been pushing these kind of very destructive things over the past few months. It's almost like they want this stuff to happen. Joe, thank you so much. Joe sent me a super sticker. I think this is my first super sticker. Like, before there was like the super chats, but this is different. And this is on YouTube. That's so cool. But someone is saying Minneapolis is a joke. Yeah, like the Minneapolis mayor. Like, these people were like, you know, you're killing grandma by going outside when the lockdowns were happening. They were calling people who like were protesting lockdowns, they were calling them white supremacists. What does that have to do with anything? What does protesting lockdown orders have to do with race? You know? Doesn't even make sense. Like, they were, you know, like, really coming down. They were arresting people for going to the beach. They were coming down hard against, like, lockdown violations. And then now, when people are out doing these much, much bigger protests, much crazier, more violent, even if not violent, just even being out, suddenly they don't care about social distancing. Suddenly it's very, very obviously motivated politically. Very obviously politically motivated. And now, I don't think the truthers are crazy anymore. I don't think the doomsday people are crazy anymore. I don't think my friend who was ranting about civil war is crazy anymore. I don't think you're crazy. And I'm sorry that I thought you were crazy earlier. And I'm sorry that I made fun of you. You're not crazy. Like, this is all playing out. And I don't feel safe living in a big city anymore. And by big city, I mean a big blue city, because it tends to be those places. Thank you so much, Michael. Michael Barr, thank you so much. And I got a question from Neo Neon Arrakis. Should we start moving to other countries? Oh man. Well, I definitely think that this is something that's going on all over the world, because part of it is the US, but part of it is like a global fight between the globalists and between globalism and nationalism. I think that's a big part of it. Like, I've been reading about stuff, and definitely the US is the leader in it, so it's probably going to be the worst here in the US. But I think that it's going to be bad, like, everywhere, probably, you know. Rockin' Just Shane says, did you see my comments? Whoops. I don't know if I saw your comment. Maybe. Oh, yeah. COVID was a lie. George Floyd is a lie. He's alive. Rockin' Shane says George Floyd is still alive. I have a hard time believing that, but, you know, I'm not going to call you crazy, because every time I call somebody crazy and they ended up being they ended up being right about something, then I was a crazy one. So, you know, you never know. Things are so crazy these days that you never know who's right. Michael Barr says, will Texas turn blue? Texas can definitely turn blue, and a lot of people are saying it and predicting it, but with everything that's happening right now, I know for a fact a lot of people are escaping blue states to move to Texas. So with all the people escaping to Texas right now, I would be surprised if Texas turned blue anytime soon. And there are people saying that, you know, Texas might even vote blue for Joe Biden, even as soon as November. I would be a little bit surprised, just because so many people right now, there's like a mass exile. I've been talking to realtors in Texas a lot lately. Like, there's a mass exodus of people leaving their blue states and moving to Texas. I can't imagine these people are gonna vote the same way they'd have to be crazy, like, to be voting the same way that they were doing in their states, the same way that turned their states into shitholes, and then going and voting that way in Texas. Someone is saying Texas real estate must be booming. You have no idea. I was just there. And for the past few months at this point, I've been talking to people, to brokers in Texas, and I've been looking at the market there. It's nuts how much real estate is booming in Texas. Like, it's crazy. And it's mostly people, it's a lot of people coming from other states. A lot of people from California. That's like a big thing in Texas. People coming from California. Because it's close enough that, you know, Californians might choose to go and live there. Oh, my neck hurts. My neck hurts. Okay. So I got some cookbooks that yeah. I got some cookbooks so I can make some foodies with my guy. And there's one for like girls and one for boys. So this is the one for girls. It's like a girls cookbook, and everything, all these like recipes are under 375 calories. And they're all like super like healthy, whatever. This is spaghetti squash lasagna. I'm gonna make this. And then this is the boy version of it. It's called the Culinary Bro Down, and it's just like everything is insanely unhealthy. Like a milkshake of, what is this? Or I mean, like some of these foods are just, whoa, like how could you eat this and not have a heart attack right away? Like, it all looks amazing. I'm really excited to cook these things. Maybe we could even live stream cooking them, because I haven't like had my own kitchen in a while to like really cook my own stuff. So I'm really excited to be able to do that, to be able to cook. Lobster ravioli. I've never had lobster, by the way, like ever in my life. Nate says, I'll move to Montana and own 8 ponies. That sounds like a great idea. Yeah, I say if you are fine with everything that's happening, and actually there needs to be people who are fine with everything that's happening. If you are fine with everything that's happening, I'll tell you why I never had lobster before. If you're fine with everything that's happening, then you should definitely like stay where you are and do your thing. Okay? But if you are like me and you're worried, you should definitely not stay in your blue cities. You should leave as soon as you can. And I know I sound like a crazy person. Whatever. The people who sounded crazy to me months ago don't sound crazy to me anymore. I'm like thinking about them and saying, should have listened to them. So I don't care if you think I'm crazy. I think that shit's gonna get worse. And not everywhere. Maybe everywhere a little bit, but like definitely more in certain places. And already, like, you know, LA has cut a huge amount of funding to their police department. Minneapolis, I mean, they might like cut a lot of. I don't think they're gonna defund their police, although I'm fine if they do. Just if you're in Minneapolis and you know this bothers you, maybe you should leave. But someone says we think you're crazy, but that's why we watch. Great, thank you. But yeah, like no sane person wants that for their city. No sane person in LA. I was walking through LA the other day, and because I'm from LA, by the way, I'm from LA. I was born and raised there my whole life. Okay. Like, nobody wants this. Nobody wants these crazy riots and these crazy lockdowns. No, Democrats don't want this. But they just, I mean, not all Democrats. I noticed a lot of people turning red over these issues. Like, you know, they were Democrats and they were like, oh my gosh, but like what's happening? like, you know, these people, what are they doing, whatever. So those people, there are those people. And then there are the people who just don't really know like how to react because they support the protests, whatever. I don't think that anybody that works and has a family to feed and protect supports any of this. Nate says, and I've been meeting a lot of people who have, like, you know, neighbors and stuff like that who are just like totally distraught with the situation. 1 second. Huge fan, Mr. Adams says, if nobody wants the riots, then why is there rioting? Nobody wants the riots in where they live, I think. Nobody who has something to lose wants the riots. I think the riots are being done by people who don't feel like they have anything to lose. So people who don't have kids, people who don't have families to protect, people who don't have jobs or businesses, and those are the people doing the rioting. Let's see. I'm sorry if I don't answer your comment because, like, there's a lot of comments and they come really fast, and that's great. Like, I love it. Great. It's just really hard. Like the super chats, I see them because they, like, you know, they're like glaring, you know, in my feed. They're like highlighted, but the other comments, it's like, you know, I'm like scrolling through it. Someone is saying George Dory's funding it. Do you mean George Soros? Logo says, are there any celebrities funding relief for victims of the violence? Not that I know of, probably. From what I've seen, celebrities are funding bailouts for the protesters and or rioters. I don't know. I don't know the difference anymore these days. But, like, and I've seen people support, like, funding for black businesses. I think it's great to, like, support funding for businesses. Personally, I just don't like the whole collectivist mentality. Don't call me a racist. I don't know why that would make me racist, but some people think that, so don't do it. But, yeah. Kanye West is fundraising for the oh, okay. Rosemary says Kanye is fundraising for the families of victims. That's great. Great. Somebody has a brain. Yeah. Hopefully more people, like, jump on that bandwagon. They complain about systematic racism, and yet these states have been run by Democrats for decades. Someone says I look like a racist. Oh man, what does that mean even? I thought racists are supposed to be white people, according to the people who say that, who use the word a lot. Bart says Jack P raised over $330K for the slain retired police officer. Oh wow, that's really nice for David Dorn. Yeah, they thrive on systematic racism. Hello there. Woo! Hello there, Richard. My boyfriend is watching this live stream. My boyfriend thinks I'm so cool. And is watching my live stream. My boyfriend is gonna be on my live stream soon. Do you guys want to meet him? And we're gonna talk about, like, everything. And we're gonna cook, like, food. Snake says the LA County's Sheriff Department will not be defunded. Oh, and you can also ask him, like, everything. You can ask him you can ask him, like, whatever you want. and I'll tell you the story of how it all started. Someone says, have you seen what's going on in London? Woo. Someone said that. Have I seen what's going on in London? Yeah. I found it so funny that people around the world are like joining in on this George Floyd stuff. It is not about George Floyd. This is political. It's like basically people around the world are giving their input on if they think that, are basically giving their input on our president. I think it really just comes down to Trump. Because, and not Trump as a person, but Trump as a movement. Like it's the people who, it's the America Firsters versus the rest of the world. I think that's what it basically comes down to. The America Firsters versus the rest of the world. The Britain Firsters versus the rest of the world. The France Firsters versus the rest of the world. The nationalists basically versus the globalists. And it just happens to be the biggest fight in the US, I think, maybe because we're just bigger. I think that's might be what it is. And also because we are the last stand for freedom in the world. We are still, like, with everything that's going on, we are still the most freedom-loving country in the world. We're still, like, our culture is still, honestly, in my opinion, the most freedom-loving culture. Our culture is also the least racist, by the way. Like, for all this talk about racism, have you been to other countries? I have. I've been to many other countries. And I speak other languages. And I think that Americans are not very racist at all. Nope. I don't think Americans are racist. And, well, you could say, well, just because other people are racist, it doesn't mean we shouldn't strive to be better, but actually, we are better. We are much better than we used to be, obviously. We're much, and the fact that even racism is a thing shows that Americans don't like racism. The reason Americans don't like racism is because Americans are individualists. We believe that people should be like judged individually and not according to their race. But ironically, the people who are using the word racism a lot right now are actually the people who are pushing it the most. They're the collectivists. They're the people who are trying to force everybody in a box. If you're try being a black person, and I have a growing number of friends like this that are like, try to be a black person who comes out against, like, these protests. They will call you self-hating. They will give you the worst names ever. I won't say the words because I don't want to get banned from YouTube. The words that they use against people who are black, so someone says, if that's the case, then why is it so hard for people to accept Black Lives Matter? And this is another marketing thing that they did. They named their movement Black Lives Matter, so if you go against the movement, then it means you're against Black Lives. That is marketing genius. Also, that's very misleading. Just because the name of the movement is called Black Lives Matter, it doesn't mean that it's helping people. Like, that you think that they're helping. It's really not. You can say Black Lives Matter, and I agree that Black Lives Matter, and I think most people, especially Americans, agree that Black Lives Matter. But I'm not joining in this stupid movement. I'm not falling for the trend. I'm not falling for the trend. And I'm not gonna let you defame my character just because I didn't fall for the movement. Like, I'm not gonna let you, like, tell me that I'm a bad person because I didn't, like fall for your tricks, for your shaming. Maybe we have different views. Maybe, we have different levels of trust in what these people are pushing, but it doesn't give you the right to tell me how I feel in my heart, because you have no clue what I feel in my heart. Let's see. Level Up Delivery says, did you hear about LinkedIn's open forum with their employees and how their CEO had to apologize for the different opinions given by employees on current racial issues? All these people are so, like, they're such cowards. I mean, whatever. I don't judge you. I get it. If you don't bow to the mob, then the mob will come after you and it will eat you. It's so stupid. I mean, this is why I'm moving to, and it's hard. Moving to another place is very hard. Joe Anderson says, hashtag no lives matter. We are all equally worthless. I really like the way you think, Joe. That's I think that's that's like the best way to think at the end of the day. No lives matter except your own. Protect yourself, protect your own. Don't wait for the government to come and save you, because they won't. But yeah. And in places where, they're saying defund the police, let them do it. They're gonna go in that direction. Let those politicians show the world what they're made of. Let those politicians show the world what they're made of. Move out, by all means, move out, and it's really hard to do that, especially if you've lived your entire life in one place. I get it. And it's really hard going and trying to, going to a new place, maybe where there isn't a lot of people. It's hard, but if you want to protect yourself, personally, I would do it. But you can also not listen to me. Someone is saying, how are black people supposed to protect themselves from the police? Well, that's why I'm saying, if that is how you feel, and you feel that that police is systematically, which is not true, but if you think that police is systematically going and killing black people, if you feel that way, and you know what, maybe you're right, maybe the numbers were tampered with. Because actually that's been done before, I was gonna say the statistics show that blah, blah, blah. Well, maybe the statistics were tampered with. Maybe the people at the top are secretly racist and, I'm wrong. And, and these numbers are made up that I'm pushing. Maybe it's all tampered with, and maybe you're right. Fine. If that's right, then okay, fine. Vote to defund the police in your neighborhoods. Also, anybody that supports police, get out. Let those people who want to defund the police, let those people let those people deal with it. If they feel safer, then great. Let those people deal with it, and don't let them, when their city goes up in flames, don't let them come riding into your city. Keep your, move somewhere else. Move somewhere where guns are legal. Protect yourself. When they come into your city, you don't let them do to your city what they did to their city. So, pick your battles, is what I'm saying. Doug says, wait until I sell my condo before you destroy my city, people. Oh man. That's such a sad thought. That so much of this country has gone to like a toxic mentality. But you can still, there's still, you know, a lot of it is not gone. And you can still protect the strong places. You can still go to those places, protect them. Don't, you know, don't turn those places that you moved to into the places you left. Okay? You can go protect those places and let these cities that will have no police. And by the way, defund the police means the police are gonna have to get their money from somewhere. They're gonna be giving like a lot more tickets and fines and like little stupid parking violation fees and whatever. They're gonna be doing all that. I mean, it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get much worse. Like, it's gonna get much worse in those cities, especially with police. So let those places just self-combust. I don't know what else to say. Let those places self-combust, and eventually they'll become ghost towns or something. And then whoever wants can pick up the pieces later. I don't know. But protect I say protect the places that are not there yet. That's what I say. Someone is saying, is the new world going to be communist? No, I don't think America is going to be communist. I don't think America will become communist. We are just culturally, we're not built that way. We have too many smart people. People come here to escape communism. Like, we're not going to become communist. So many people escaped to America to escape communism. Even like the immigrants who came from communist countries, they came here to escape from communism. All these, like, you know, like the Cubans in Florida, they came here. They're not gonna turn, you know, like those people are consistently capitalist, like super capitalist. Those people they're not gonna let this country become like that. Someone is saying, where's the doom that you're talking about? Dude, I don't even remember the topic of this live stream. Don't ask. Okay, I have to go because it's like been an hour. I've been just rambling. So I'm going to go now. Thank you so much to my super chatters, especially Joe. Thank you so much. And it was really great to like be back after this whole time. And I want to keep like doing this more, you know, like hopefully as things get more stable, you'll see more of me, and you'll see Richard. That will be a lot of fun. That will be a really fun live stream. And see you all later. And if you are on Periscope, definitely go and check out my YouTube thing. Go and subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my video and all that stuff. And if you're on YouTube, you can follow me on the twits, which you probably already do. See you later. Bye.